The gleaming glass and steel of Davidson Enterprises headquarters reflected the morning sun as I walked into the executive floor, dressed in a pristine Oscar de la Renta suit that my stepbrother would mistake for a department store knockoff. The quarterly board meeting was about to begin, and Marcus Davidson, newly appointed CEO, was holding court in the conference room. "Oh good," Marcus smirked as I entered, his Rolex flashing under the fluorescent lights. "The cleaning staff is right on time. We'll need coffee service for 20 board members." I touched the vintage Cartier watch hidden beneath my sleeve, my mother's parting gift before she married Marcus's father, and checked the time. In exactly 47 minutes, their perfectly orchestrated board meeting would descend into complete chaos. "Actually," I said quietly, taking a seat at the far end of the conference table, "I'm here for the meeting." "Elizabeth," my stepsister Jennifer cut in, her voice dripping with false concern, "I think there's been a confusion. This is the quarterly board meeting. For executives." She emphasized the last word as if I might not understand it. If they only knew that while they were playing corporate dress-up, I had built Eclipse Capital into one of the most formidable private equity firms in the country. The same firm that had been systematically acquiring Davidson Enterprises shares through a complex web of shell companies for the past year. "I received the notification," I replied softly, placing my leather portfolio handmade Italian, though they'd assume it was mass-produced on the table. "Oh, how cute," Jennifer laughed, adjusting her obviously designer blazer. "She thinks the all-staff email meant board meeting access." "Sweetie, that was about the new cleaning protocols." My phone buzzed quietly, a message from my CFO. "Final share count confirmed. 51% ownership achieved. Legal team standing by for hostile takeover announcement. Your family still doesn't suspect." "I still can't believe Dad married your mother," Marcus muttered, loud enough for everyone to hear. "Now we have to deal with this at every company function." I thought about the documents waiting in my private office, not the small cubicle they thought I occupied in the maintenance department, but the entire top floor of the city's most prestigious business address. Documents that would reveal that their precious family company was now controlled by the stepsister they dismissed as the cleaning lady. "Marcus," Richard Davidson, my stepfather and outgoing CEO, called from the head of the table. "Let's begin. Elizabeth, please ensure the coffee stays hot during the meeting." I checked my watch again. 30 minutes until the press release. 30 minutes until they learned that while they were mocking my presence, I had orchestrated the largest hostile takeover in the company's history. "Of course," I murmured, watching Jennifer shoot Marcus a triumphant look. "Would anyone like their coffee now?" "At least she knows her place," Jennifer Stage whispered to Marcus. Unlike at the Christmas party when she actually tried to contribute to the business discussion. My phone buzzed again, another message from my team. "Stock trading volume increasing. Market makers noticing unusual activity. Davidson Enterprises shares up 3% in pre-market trading." Marcus stood at the front of the room, straightening his Italian silk tie. "Let's discuss the merger prospects. As you know, we've been approached by several interested parties." I hid a smile behind my portfolio. Those interested parties were all subsidiaries of Eclipse Capital, my company. Each approach had been carefully orchestrated to create the illusion of multiple bidders, driving up the stock price while concealing the real buyer. "The Eclipse Capital offer is particularly troubling," Richard interjected. "They seem to be acquiring shares through multiple channels. Our banking team can't trace the ultimate owner." If he only knew that the ultimate owner was sitting at the end of his conference table, supposedly there to serve coffee. "Eclipse Capital is run by some mystery executive," Marcus dismissed with a wave. "Probably some trust fund kid playing with daddy's money. We're Davidson Enterprises, we don't get pushed around by anonymous investors." My phone lit up again, "Trading halt imminent. Press release scheduled for 9:30 a.m. sharp. Board member calls being arranged now." I touched my mother's watch again, thinking about her words before she passed away. "Sometimes the best revenge isn't in showing your power, it's in letting them hand it to you themselves." The board members were settling in, accepting coffee from the actual service staff while discussing quarterly projections. None of them noticed that the cleaning lady was quietly reviewing takeover documents worth billions. Sometimes the best cleaning job isn't about tidying up a room, it's about sweeping away delusions of power. At exactly 9:30 a.m., as Marcus was midway through his self-congratulatory presentation about the company's bright future, every phone in the boardroom started buzzing simultaneously. The large screens displaying his PowerPoint suddenly switched to breaking news, courtesy of my team's override of the room's AV system. Breaking news. Eclipse Capital acquires controlling interest in Davidson Enterprises, hostile takeover confirmed. The Mont Blanc pen in Richard's hand clattered against the mahogany table. Jennifer's perfectly manicured nails dug into her leather portfolio as she frantically refreshed her stock trading app. Marcus, still standing at the podium, looked like he'd been struck by lightning. Trading in Davidson Enterprises shares has been halted, the news anchor announced, following confirmation that Eclipse Capital has acquired 51% of outstanding shares. Sources indicate this may be the largest hostile takeover in the industry's history. "This is impossible," Marcus sputtered, his CEO confidence evaporating. "We controlled all the voting shares." Eclipse Capital has apparently been acquiring shares through multiple entities, the financial analyst on screen continued. The strategy has been described by experts as brilliantly executed and unprecedented in its sophistication. I watched as Richard desperately tried to reach his banking contacts, the same ones who had assured him the family's control was secure. Jennifer was rapidly texting the family's lawyers, her designer blazer now wrinkled from stress. "The Eclipse team must be here any minute," one board member muttered, straightening his tie nervously. "We should prepare for their representatives." "Oh, their representative is already here," I said quietly, standing up from my end of the table. The room fell silent as every head turned toward me. Marcus's face shifted from confusion to disbelief to dawning horror. "No," Jennifer whispered, her phone slipping from her trembling fingers. "You can't be." I opened my leather portfolio, removing the official takeover documents. "Eclipse Capital wasn't playing with Daddy's money, Marcus. We built our position carefully, patiently, while you were all busy dismissing the cleaning lady." "This is a joke," Richard declared, though his voice lacked conviction. "Elizabeth, you can't possibly." "Can't possibly what?" I asked, walking to the front of the room. "Can't possibly build a multi-billion-dollar investment firm? Can't possibly orchestrate a hostile takeover? Can't possibly clean up this company's inefficiencies?" I gestured to my assistant, who had been quietly observing from the corner. She distributed folders to each board member, detailed analyses of Davidson Enterprises' weaknesses and my plans for restructuring. "Your international division is operating at 40% capacity," I continued, taking control of the presentation screens. "Your technology infrastructure is a decade behind competitors. And your executive compensation," I paused, looking directly at Marcus, "is embarrassingly bloated." "You've been spying on us?" Jennifer accused, finally finding her voice. "Spying." I smiled. "Oh, I've been doing due diligence. The same due diligence you should have done before dismissing every suggestion I tried to make over the past year. Those cleaning protocol meetings you thought I was attending? Actually, strategy sessions with my M&A team." The board members were flipping through their folders with increasing alarm. The company's flaws, laid bare in precise detail, painted a picture of systematic mismanagement under the Davidson family's leadership. "Ms. Eclipse," my assistant interrupted, using my professional name, "the SEC filing is complete. And the family's voting trust documents have been updated to reflect the new ownership structure." "Thank you, Sarah," I replied, enjoying how Marcus flinched at hearing his former cleaning lady addressed with such respect. "Please inform our legal team to proceed with the executive restructuring plans." "Executive restructuring?" Richard stood up, his face flushed. "Now see here, young lady." "Actually," I cut him off, "I believe you'll find that the young lady now controls this company. And yes, restructuring. Starting with the excessive number of Davidson family members in management positions." The morning sun had climbed higher in the sky, casting long shadows across the boardroom as I took my place at the head of the table, the same spot Richard had occupied moments ago. The Davidson family's world was unraveling with each passing minute, their empire slipping through their manicured fingers. "First order of business," I announced, pulling up a new presentation on the screens. "Immediate management changes. Marcus, your position as CEO is terminated, Effective immediately. You can't do this, he sputtered, his expensive tie now crooked with stress. I have a contract. A contract that includes a change of control clause, I corrected him. Which Eclipse Capital has just triggered. Your golden parachute has been deposited into your account, though you might find it smaller than expected. We found several irregularities in your expense reports. Jennifer leaped to her feet, her designer heels clicking against the marble floor. This is ridiculous. We're the Davidson family. This company has been ours for 3 generations. And in 3 generations, I replied calmly, you've managed to lose market share in every major sector, fall behind in technological innovation, and create a corporate culture that values family connections over competence. I gestured to my assistant, who distributed another round of documents. These are the complete restructuring plans. The bloated executive team will be reduced by 60%. The international division will be completely overhauled. And the technology infrastructure will be modernized. The costs involved. Richard began, his business instincts trying to find a flaw in my plan. Are fully funded, I cut him off. Eclipse Capital has already secured the necessary financing. Unlike some people, we believe in proper business planning. My phone buzzed with updates from my team. The stock market had reopened and Davidson Enterprises shares were soaring on news of the takeover. The same shareholders who had ignored my warnings about management problems were now celebrating their windfall. Ms. Eclipse, my assistant interrupted, the press is requesting a statement about the family's role in the restructured company. I stood up, smoothing down my suit. Would you like to know why I named it Eclipse Capital? The room remained silent, the board members too shocked to respond. Because an eclipse reveals things that are usually hidden by bright lights, I continued. Like how a family's sense of entitlement can blind them to their company's decline. Or how they can be so focused on their own brilliance that they don't see the shadow approaching. I pulled up financial projections on the screens, detailed plans for transforming Davidson Enterprises into a modern, efficient corporation. While you were all busy protecting your family positions, I was building something that could save this company from your mismanagement. But the cleaning staff, Marcus whispered, still struggling to process the reality, was the perfect cover, I nodded. You were all so convinced of your own superiority that you never questioned why a Harvard MBA with a background in private equity would take a maintenance position. You saw what you expected to see, someone beneath your notice. Jennifer had collapsed back into her chair, her perfect composure finally cracking. All those times you served coffee, took notes, cleaned up after our meetings. I was gathering intelligence, I confirmed. Learning every weakness, every inefficiency, every example of nepotism that was dragging this company down. The same issues I tried to raise in those family dinners where you told me to stick to cleaning. My assistant projected a new image onto the screens, Eclipse Capital's complete portfolio. The board members gasped as they realized the true scope of my success. Dozens of transformed companies, billions in assets under management, and a track record of turning struggling family businesses into modern powerhouses. Your father married my mother thinking he was rescuing a widow and her daughter from financial hardship, I said, looking directly at Marcus and Jennifer. He never bothered to check that she had built one of the most successful private investment firms in Asia. The same firm that provided the seed funding for Eclipse Capital. Richard's face paled as understanding dawned. Your mother. She wasn't just a trophy wife? I finished for him. Oh, she was my mentor, my first investor, and the one who taught me that sometimes the best way to change a broken system is from the inside. She would have fixed this company years ago if you had ever bothered to listen to her suggestions. I touched my mother's watch again, remembering her words. Let them underestimate you. Let them dismiss you. Then show them exactly what they missed while they were busy looking down. The press conference is in an hour, I announced to the stunned room. The new management team has already been selected. And yes, there will still be roles for family members, those who qualify based on merit rather than last name. And if we refuse to cooperate? Marcus challenged, making one last attempt at defiance. Then you'll miss out on the opportunity to be part of something better than a family fiefdom, I replied. Eclipse Capital has turned around 17 companies in the past 5 years. We know how to fix broken enterprises. The question is whether the Davidson family can swallow enough pride to be part of the solution rather than the problem. The screens now showed live feeds from Eclipse Capital's other success stories: modernized factories, efficient operations, and thriving businesses that had once been failing family companies. The cleaning staff will be arriving soon, I added with a slight smile. The real cleaning staff, that is. I suggest you all clear out your offices before they get here. The new management team moves in tomorrow. Jennifer stood up shakily. Where will you office be? Here, I gestured to the boardroom. I believe in keeping the most important meetings where everyone can see them. No more backroom family decisions, no more hidden agendas. I picked up my portfolio and headed for the door, then turned back one last time. Oh, and Marcus? The coffee machine in the executive break room has been malfunctioning for months. I suggested fixing it 3 times during your cleaning staff meetings. Consider it a final lesson in the importance of listening to every voice in your organization. The morning sun had reached its peak as I walked out of the boardroom, leaving behind a family forced to confront their own arrogance and a board finally freed from dynastic control. My mother's watch ticked steadily on my wrist, marking the end of one era and the beginning of another. Sometimes the best cleaning job isn't about tidying up spaces, it's about clearing out the cobwebs of privilege and entitlement that gather in family-run companies. And sometimes the most effective way to sweep away old power structures is to let them crumble from within. As I stepped into my private elevator, the same one Marcus had once told me was for executives only, I thought about all the other family companies out there run by people too proud to see their own failures. Eclipse Capital's next target was already in my sights. After all, there's nothing quite like the look on someone's face when they realize the cleaning lady just cleaned house in more ways than one.